Hey guys, my hair falling out this Christmas. As you can see, I took the Merry Christmas sign and I turned it back around because we're not married this year again, because Mother Mary's children were abused, alright? And all these children are like little Jesus babies, if you ask me. So, I wrote this song a while back as a parody of I'll Be Home for Christmas. I bring you home this Christmas. A lot of us are, again, the holidays have become somber and the years pass on. I want to remind people, in 2017, I had published that song, well, self-published it in some ways, put it on the internet and exposed it, the Dolly song about our children being stolen. Yeah. So, anyways, and we still haven't heard anything. We'll find out. This is the song, really the heart of our message that we want to share with our children. And we're not allowed to speak to them. That's the worst thing. And I asked the Senate, state, and U.S. to please open communication barriers. I've written every year, Roy Blunt, will you please open Skype communication for us with our children? If you can't afford an adoption, don't come running back to me. If you can't place a child under your own Christmas tree, don't put me under your forced surrogacy. Innocent women don't deserve to be raped like me. I bring you home this Christmas. I bring you home back to me. I bring you home this on every Christmas. See, a lot of people are family on the holidays, and then they're not family any other time of the year. They're not really around. They're distant and plastic. And I think, I'm here beside an artificial Christmas tree, which saves the green, right? But the thing is, we can't have our peace of mind. They always say, the gifts of peace, the gifts of joy. We're really a joyless generation. And that's why so many people have resorted to alternative chemicals to change their brain, to bring on an unnatural happiness. And what they don't really realize, because they've been raised that way since kids, I've seen where, children transition once their parents who have, again, kind of impostered this semi-fake understanding of what real joy is. And that can come from a real biological family, which treats, children terribly, and everybody understands that. But in my situation, I didn't have those bad habits. I didn't have those chemical addictions. I didn't have those heart-wrenching, body-destroying type issues that I was going to pass on and teach my children. I was a teacher. I was going to teach my kids the values of, again, people's feelings, sensitivity. So those feelings should be highly valued. In this today's society, we don't have that. And so, again, this is a Hard Candy Christmas. You guys have heard my song. I'll try to sing it again later on, but I just wanted to share this video with you because I really want people, again, to understand that true message. They had all these people swarming into the show Jesus Tonight, okay, at 3:30, and my friend was in town, and I wasn't feeling too well, but I felt good enough to probably go to it. I don't know, unless I got more sick. But the thing was, every single ticket was sold out. Okay, the title of the show was Jesus, right? Jesus was the highest celebrity, He gave the greatest amount of love, the greatest amount of attention to your feelings. And when people, and all I can think of is those are hypocrites all filling that stadium, filling that auditorium. That's what makes me sick in my stomach, because they've turned their back on a middle finger at the baby Jesus, because Jesus says anything you do unto him, you've done to those little children. That's why we're concerned. We're like, these are supposed to be, again, people that we do unto others, as we do unto ourselves. We wouldn't have people wailing each night wondering if they're ever going to see their real family again. We would have people wailing every night in physical pain and in mental, emotional pain, which is sometimes worse than physical pain, depending on what level it's at. I mean, there can be a lot of issues that are intertwined, and that's why I really think it really is time for attention to the physical manifestation on the flesh of problems that start with broken hearts. Because when people's hearts are broken, they say the heart doeth good like medicine, joyful heart. Where is the joy? Jesus came to bring joy to the world. So people are using their own celebrity, their own talents, their own financial resources, their own time on a stage behind a mic, and their own production performances to distract people, again, from the true Jesus. And I'm not picking on that show at all. I'm just saying that there is a problem with I'm not saying those particular people were hypocrites, but we do have, it seems like, a huge amount of people that would give every ounce of attention, again, to creating a falsity of true adherence to the kingdom of heaven. And they become a country club. It becomes a source of entertainment. It makes them look good to society to say that they went to the Jesus show. It makes them look good to society to say they went to church. They have a country club membership at the local Lutheran or Baptist or Methodist church. They want to outwardly be approached as a good person, when again, their true love for the true baby Jesus is an admiration on the holiday alone. And it is sad we don't even get to see our kids on our holidays even. But, that's my dolly guitar. You saw the butterflies on the guitar. I still have this thing. This is like a kid's toy guitar in some ways, but it's really not to someone who can play it good. I have arthritis in my hands and now my feet and now my knee. I was saying I was visiting the Dolly Stampede, and I went to go visit the horses outside. I like to go visit very often and cheer myself up. I love animals, even though I'm allergic to them. And I fell down and hurt my knee, and it keeps hurting terribly. So I keep getting reminded of, how one person's lack of understanding or lack of acknowledgement, or if they're choosing not to acknowledge the pain and suffering of the people, of the little baby Jesuses, of the Mother Madonnas who lost their children from state government interference illegally for no reason when they were good, fit parents. And as we hear the time ticking, time runs on. We only have so many days of the year that we live. We only so many breaths we have to take. But that's why I added that line at the end. Every day I breathe. Every day I breathe. I give thanks to my Savior. I give thanks for his forgiveness. I ask for repentance. I ask for, as often as I can remember, the bread and wine of his body and blood that really does heal our spirit and our souls. But people don't understand. There's still a physical manifestation. No matter how many times I take communion, how many times I pray, without a miraculous healing of the great physician, I'm still going to be in pain. And, I've discussed health conditions. You all have comorbidities, different issues affecting you. But when the great physician is supposed to be mimicked, again, by these physical doctors on earth who chose the Hippocratic Oath, they're not going to do harm, thou shalt do no harm. But then they choose, again, to harm their patients and resist medical treatments with intention of keeping a Judas pocket being filled up for keeping them sick, so they keep having more treatments, more, fake treatments, when the actual treatment, the cure is not actually offered. So, that being said, they say, what is the celebrity without their hair? Noticing how hair can make everyone look so different, and it's a frame on your face. But what is an angel without their wings? they keep trying to clip off the wings of all these people trying to help the people. And all those people, when I saw those people rushing to that temple, whether it was a Pharisaical temple or not, this reminded me of. It reminded me of the lack of real, true appreciation of other people's feelings. Because if I had an ounce of a sage to offer people such as those, how many people would show up? I'll tell you, I wouldn't even have a handful of people showing up. And that's just the thing. Because unless you already have that financial pocket and that resource of a larger theater where you're more respected and you're marketed on the highest level with the highest level marketing, you don't get that same appreciation. Just like not having the hair. The hair to be appreciated. All right, I've heard people complain about different things, but just again, what is Christmas without baby Jesus in the manger? Jesus wasn't born in a mansion. Jesus wasn't born in a temple. Jesus was born in a small, humble stable. So, again, the appreciation of the humble and kind seems to keep dissipating. So remember that line. Always be humble and kind. I love that song too. So I'll sing for you another time, but I want to move forward with what can we do? Again, what can we do to bring people closer to heaven? They'll say we want to bring people closer to Christ. That's you always hear that at church. So how again do you bring people closer to heaven if they're intentionally by the church? Because again, it's the Missouri Baptist Children's Home, it's the Lutheran Child Services. People who took on the cross of Christ were taking on actual cross of Judas, the pharisaical quote unquote protection of the children, to ship them to complete strangers, which is against heaven's will by far, especially when they sever complete communication. So we have to pray for the politicians out there who have the ability to speak for those children and who do have that mic. And there are a few of them out there, and we're trying to hone in and hone them up on how they can present themselves to, again, defend the children. Because the church will say, well, we just don't have anything to do with that. Even at a Bible study, we can't take personal stories. They want nothing up close and personal. Nothing. They want, no, we can't take anything personal. We can't hear about your life. We can't hear about how you need an attorney, and we don't have attorneys that are not Judas's in this town, in this county. You go to another Sunday school, right? Another church, just like the temple Dave was rushing into. And they'll say, they'll Bible study. You think, well, I got to get to know these people, so they can help me and I can get to know Jesus better, right? They would say. So they come in there to the Bible study, and you'll try to speak a few words. We can't hear anything about how your child was stolen across states. We can't hear about how your mother was held hostage in a nursing home. You couldn't even talk to her the last 5 weeks before she died. Okay, we can't hear about that, how your child was stolen the minute it was born and put in the ICU and you weren't allowed to see your baby before it even died. No, we can't. No, these people are its and they're units, and they make money off of units. They see people as a financial dollar of gain, just like Judas would. So, how do, again, we get to know each other up close and personal when we have no up close and personal connectivity going on? And that's the problem. Unless you're associated with the big mighty dollar and the social work friendship circle, then you're allowed, again, to be in on their inner circle. So thus, this Christmas season, we have piles and piles of documents of all kinds of cases of people waiting to be put through the judicial system that are still waiting in a jail cell because they were arrested against the constitutional policy that you're innocent until proven guilty. Let's go back again. What is Christmas without a baby Jesus in the manger? What is Christmas without baby Jesus in that manger? Baby Jesus was stolen. If the true representation of the current church would have baby Jesus completely absent from the nativity scene, there would be no baby Jesus there. It would have a big CPS Nazi symbol all over it, okay? It would have the Nazi swastika here and there on the baby Jesus forehead as it gets thrown away, right? Like a doll that they can't help, all right? So I keep pressing for doll defenders and, women for women and their children, because they are the primary caregivers still in the homes, even though many have been stolen to like I said, the baby Jesus has been stolen with a swastika Sustaffel social service projects. We have to back up because this $1 trillion, budget is coming through called the Build Back Better America, Triple B. Well, what are they wanting? Because the babies have been stolen, our banks have been stolen, and our basic stability, our 3 Bs that we had, our basic stability has been stolen from us for the sake of a faked federal embezzlement fraud. They wanted the federal government money, right? They knew they could produce unlimited amounts of federal government money, unlimited amounts of green dollar bills that they wanted to not shred to other people and actually helping people, but to themselves, okay? And we're in that position where they grab the money before it gets to you, right? Before it gets to the victims, before it gets to the homeless, before it gets to the impoverished, before it gets to the new mother. What do? They find ways to keep that money, and put it back into their own pocket, into their own friends, okay? Just like taking money out of the tithing basket as it's passed around. They're passing on the tithe, because that's a tithing from the government. The government gave that money back as a tithe. And if you remind yourself in the Bible how horrific it was when people stole money from that tithe. It was horrifying because the money has been preyed upon to be helping the people. The people in the Bible, there was an instant death and sickness and of complete wipeout. Now, does every person who gets sick, is that a sign of being cursed by God? No. This is why I totally reject anyone who has a mindset who's been brainwashed to believe that we're not human creatures, because there has to be every action has a reaction, an equal and opposite reaction. That's something they teach even in the Buddhism religion. And if Christianity, individuals who study and practice that, supposedly practice that, even if they fakely practice that, if they would incorporate some of these wonderful keys of wisdom and spiritual healing and peacefulness that through meditation, etc., you can create through chanting for themselves, they would open the doors to much more of those gifts of spiritual gifts of joy, peace, and such to their own children. But we have to look and say, well, what are we passing down? What kind of satanic pull is there? It seems like an antichrist movement, which it is, when they create an apostasy. Apostasy is to reject and turn on your own traditions and your own ways of principles of your past that you've lived within for your whole entire life. So turn your back on the true religion, the apostasy of the Antichrist. All that social work movement was an Antichrist movement. That's why we're heavily pushing to defund CPS. They said, well, the Democrats said that defunding, and I'm not a Democrat, for you that know me. I'm a political moderator. I am a Republican by choice on paper. However, I don't just choose to take the Republican principle to the same level as these other quote-unquote Republican politicians here in the U.S. Senate, etc., are taking it. I take it to a higher level because they don't believe in Lincolnomics. They don't believe necessarily live and let live, right? The people, again, the tithing money is given from the government, but it's stolen back to people who have a hand on that money before it reaches the victim, and it never reaches the victim, and that's the trouble. We have so many nonprofits in the United States. I can't verify for other countries, but there are numerous, I would almost say that the majority of these nonprofits, to the public at least it seems, that they do not give that money to the extent that it needs to be to the people, to give them that, again, without keeping that middleman hand of Judas stepping in and the sinecure job, sitting at the office as the charity administration to their own friends' pockets. And I mean, if both people can benefit, from some gift through that money, that's great. But again, the victim has to be the priority at first. And again, our 3Bs have been stolen. So the Build Back Better America, how is it going to be better? Well, it's going to make males' pockets much better to some extent, because a lot of that's being given to construction, and construction jobs, as we know it, are 90% plus, 95%, I would say 99% plus male-oriented jobs. So even if women like myself asked to be on a construction site and work, we're told that there's not even appropriate bathrooms available for us, and it might not be safe. And that did cross my mind. I thought, how safe is that? I'm not getting in the bathroom, but if men are not respecting the women in the female race, which they haven't, the quote-unquote Madonnas of society, and, you'd ask yourself, why would I want to enter a type of work setting that could even be remote? I thought I definitely would think it would be safe possibly to be going to a remote area with a bunch of construction workers if I didn't know them real well, especially if I came from an area where they're known to be ball knobbers. Because just one of those people might be highly associated with a ball knobber clique that has ways of, cutting people off in society, however that may be, illegal or legal on paperwork, though illegal, again, in reality. So this is the trouble when you have attorneys and judges that let people off the hook for their crimes. Let them off the hook for murder. Let them off the hook for grand theft, baby. Grand theft, auto. Which is more weighty? Grand theft auto or grand theft baby? You can ask yourself that. So how, again, do we get any type of peace of mind knowing that the BBB bill is going to be not providing again, unless we give attention to that, to our banks, to the commoners' banks, okay, to the stolen babies, number one, okay, I believe we need victim compensation out of these people's pockets. I highly believe there needs to be some indemnification process in process now. And thirdly, the just basic stability. We saw real estate gouging out of control. The Senate and the Congress, the House of Reps have not stepped forward and tried to help us from inflation prices. That should have been an automatic thing before they ever gave out any type of raise in hourly wage. It should have been an automatic block on any type of inflation on our products. And there should be a reasonable excuse for any type of inflation to occur, which I believe those companies should have to go to a type of a court system, to say why they need to charge the public more money than they already have, especially in some situations where for instance, like real estate, where their rent needs to actually be dropped. And if they're going to, again, raise our hourly wage so that we can afford basic rent, then they need to step back and ensure that those real estate agents are not going to raise their rent in return, which they will if they have the chance. There's just an endless addiction to greed. And I'm more angry beyond means, behind the embezzlement fraud. That makes me more angry. I'm more angry at the social workers and the judges and the politicians who have, in succession, just like a domino effect, you try to whack back one domino at a time. Is this social worker going to help me? No. You go to the head social worker, they can help you. No. You go to the head of the state. Do they help you with the social work system? No. Do they have an Office of Child Advocacy in Jefferson City, our capital, Missouri? Will they help you? You speak to them. No, they don't help you either. They say they review documents, and they basically put it through a shredder. They basically alert the state, politicians, and whoever else they want who can snap their fingers to have you arrested, that you're their enemy, okay? Are you their enemy, or are they yours? What they're pointing out is that you're willing to fight back, to, for your life, for the life of your children. Because this isn't just a way over Christmas. This is not just a couple little tears over Christmas time. This is a lifelong grief, a lifelong abandonment. It's forced abandonment, okay? Your state government, like the state of Missouri's government, abandoned their position. And in essence, they forced abandonment on your children, like they did mine. And they placed your children into isolation from you, just like they put a person into a prison cell. So it's as though we're both being held in prison, you and your children, each of you wondering, why is the only thing that's stopping me from ever seeing my children again is the government. And I can point blank the specific people who are responsible. And trust me, It's more than I can count on my hands. That's a lot of people who are that responsible for intentional and not unintentional, just not caring, apathetic, or not acknowledging, not knowing of it. They're very aware. Okay? That starts with Roy Blunt. That starts with Billy Long. That starts with Eric Greitens, who I tried to approach. No. Eric Schmidt, who's also running for Senate. No, he won't help us. All right? Who's the Attorney General. Past Attorney General, current Senator Josh Hawley. No. They do not help you. That's 5 right there. And then, speaking to the Office of Child Advocacy, no one there. No one there would help you. My local politicians, you all know their names. No. Brian Seitz. No, he doesn't help us. Okay? Any past preachers who've known me, have any of them assisted to help me get my child back, who have the political power? And I don't know if they do so much. They could try a community, but the trouble is embezzlement, fraud, snowballs. Okay? Just like a tree that keeps growing. It just keeps growing. You have to hack at the roots. The root of all, love of money is the root of all evil. All right? Their love for that money and keep building their own bank accounts so they can be like the Whoville, running around, collecting all these presents for them and their friends, while again, causing all this grief and isolation of family. Remind you, when you're born into this world, you come in as a miracle. Each of us is an absolute miracle. And they talk about the miracle of Christmas, how Jesus Christ was born. But again, there's a miracle that happened when you were born. And that miracle